it's Julian. Here I am for the second video about my new tower defense game. The goal of this video is to study the existing tower defense games, their gameplay, the different mechanisms they use, and the differences between desktop and mobile tower defenses. This may seem boring, but it's essential before starting any development. I need to precisely define what should I implement to not waste my time creating things that won't be good for the game. Okay, so first, here is my definition of what's a tower defense game. There are a lot of games that today are called tower defense, but that in my opinion aren't. Reason why I set my limits for my research is here. Basically, in a tower defense you need to defend against successive waves of creeps that go from point A to point B with defensive towers. Now, story time. Tower defenses aren't new in the video game world. We find the first ones in the 90s, but it's Warcraft 3 with his powerful world creator that allows the explosion of that kind of game by allowing anyone to create video games. You can find in Warcraft 3 player creations a lot of tower defense games, reason why most of my examples will be based on this wonderful game that took so much years of my life. In addition to Warcraft 3 maps, I took the most known TDs of nowadays, like Orc Must Die, Dungeon Defenders, Plants vs Zombies, or Kingdom Rush. Let's talk gameplay now. We can resume the existing tower defense to 3 game modes. Cooperative, where all players in the game plays together to survive to a certain numbers of mob waves. Competitive, where there are 2 or more players teams, a team can be composed of a single player, and where the quicker to beat the waves is the winner. And finally, versus mode, which is the same composition as competitive mode, but where the objective is to make other players lose by sending them mob or making mob stronger. Earlier, I talked about mob waves. Actually, tower defense's gameplay is divided in 2 phases. Preparation phase is the time where you prepare your defense by building or upgrading your towers, managing your income, and some other things depending on which TD you play. Battle phase is where mobs come to the field. It can start automatically after X seconds of preparation phase, or be started manually when the player is ready, like in Kingdom Rush for example. Usually, players don't have so much things to do in battle phase. Income. Income is certainly a key feature of the tower defenses. Players need to rely on it to be able to build towers all along the game. They must be careful to don't spend all their income on towers and keep a part of it to upgrade their income, otherwise they won't be able to build better towers in endgame. There are 2 types of income. Passive income, which is earned every X seconds. The amount earned generally up along with the current level, the level of the mob sent by the opponent, or upgrades player did. Special mention to towers that generate their own passive income, like in Pyro TD from Warcraft 3. And we have active income, which are earned when a certain action is done, when killing a mob for example, or finish a quest, pick up objects, etc. etc. Another special mention to Poker TD this time, in which you don't have any type of income. You can build 5 random towers on each preparation phase and select or combine to keep only 1 new tower each round. Okay, here we are, the main feature of tower defense games, towers. There are a lot of things to say, so hang on. Let's begin with towers placement. Towers placement can be totally different from one TD to another. You can find TD with maze placements, where you'll use your towers to modify the path taken by mobs. This type of placements is divided in 2 categories. The free maze, where mobs go from point A to point B, taking the shorter paths, and the checkpoint maze, where mobs need to pass by 1 or more checkpoints between the start point and the end point. These TDs can give rise to pharaonic mazing, as you can see in the images. Then, alongside with the maze placements, you have the guided placements, where the developer sets towers placement in different places of the map outside the mob pass. And because there is always an exception, again another special mention to Legend TD, where the towers are placed on mob's pass, but where you won't create a maze because creeps will attack your towers on each battle phase before going to the endpoint. Towers mechanisms. Regarding towers capacities, we can divide them into 4 categories: damage, control, support, and special. I detail each category. In the damage towers, we have the single shot, multi-shot, bounce shot, and area shot. For control towers, we have ice, which slows and do damages generally in area, poison, which slows and does damages for few seconds on the hitted mob, stun, which give a chance to immobilize the mob for some time, and finally slow towers, which is the simplest form of control. Support towers are designed to give bonus to allies and malus to enemies. We have bonus like damages, attack speed, and malus like armor reduction. And last but not least, special towers. Each TD has its own special tower. We can find spell towers, which can for example change mobs into sheep, cast damage or control spells. Invocation towers, which use invocation to attack and bait mobs. Money towers that generate his own passive income, or give more golds than other towers when killing a mob. Or raise towers that raise the previous dead mobs to attack and bait the current wave. During the game, you'll need to upgrade those towers to be able to kill stronger mobs. Here again, we can find different mechanisms in the various tower defenses. The classical upgrade, with resources from your income. Tower fusion, when you use 2 or more towers to make one stronger. Upgrade with research. There are 2 types of researches here. The one who upgrades the tower, or the one who upgrades the characteristics like damage, attack speed, range, and so on. You can also upgrade by giving an item to the tower, or upgrade by finishing a quest. To be able to beat stronger mobs, we generally can build more towers. In most cases, your tower's number is limited by the available place on map, but some TD can be really restrictive on this, like Gun Rush or Plants vs Zombies. Now let's see the mobs and we're done! Like towers, there are various mobs mechanisms. It's difficult to categorize them, so here is a non-exhaustive list. Classic mobs, fast mobs, flying mobs, bosses, aggressive mobs that attack towers instead of going to the endpoint, insensitive mobs to control effects, special effects to certain towers attack, support mobs which gives a bonus to his ally with aura like life regeneration, armor, speed, bonus mobs giving additional resources or items when killing them, and special mobs which, like special towers, are really various: invisible, invulnerable, creating illusions, liberating mobs when dying like Trojan horse, etc. Note that devs very often play with how creeps are sent. For example, in a battle phase, sending the boss first to take the focus of all towers, then a lot of fast little mobs. It's an important part of the game and you need to balance it well. Since the beginning of the video, I listed all I can find on the existing TDs without making any platform distinction. Making a TD on mobile will have consequences on gameplay choices you make. And that's because on mobile the display screen is smaller, you have generally less CPU-GPU power, so you can show as much elements as on desktop. Your playtime is shorter on mobile than on desktop, so the game must be designed to fill that time, and interactions you can make are really different on mobile. For example, you can have off-game mechanism with notifications, you can use the tactile screen to add new features, but on the other hand, you won't have the precision with the finger that you have with the mouth. During my study, I defined the most common characteristics you can find on a mobile tower defense game. They are all solo game, with guided tower placement. You can use only a small amount of towers on map, less than 10, and upgrade with resources only. A game is 15 minutes max, and you have only few types of creeps, generally classic and boss. I've not decided yet all the characteristics of my game, this will be on my next video, but I can say right now that my game will be multiplayer. I think the multiplayer feature adds a lot of pleasure to the game, and we don't have this on mobile. I will create that game. Last video, I was asking you which name for the game should I use. As my channel is new, I didn't have so much responses, but here is the one that you gave me in my Twitter DMs. Tower Defense Arena. So the project name will be that now, or TDA to be shorter. We finally are on the end of this video. I know that it was intense, and it's not a real devlog episode, but this step was really important to make my final gameplay choices. I originally planned to do 2 videos before starting the development, but I'll make both in one. I really want to start making the game now. See you in a few days for the video about the gameplay choices I made and a little showcase of graphics in TD. It was Julian, see you next time.